This is Classic FM.
One of the great conductors of our age, Claudio Abbado, is 80 next Wednesday, and I'm celebrating his life and career and his recordings, many great recordings that he's made over the last 50 years on my programme at 7 o'clock on Sunday evening. The 80th birthday of Claudio Abbado was a milestone a lot of us didn't think he was going to make, because a decade ago he was struck down with a terrible cancer that required major abdominal operation. He emerged from that surgery a mere shadow of his former self, but still goes on, indefatigable, unbeatable. He is still conducting wonderful performances, and indeed you could argue, as will be I think seen in some of the recordings that I play, like the concluding Mahler Fourth Symphony, the finale that I play at the very end of this programme, that Abbado has deepened his interpretative skills even more than previously as a result of his brush with death. What I'm going to be showing is really Abbado the young man, Abbado in maturity, Abbado in old age. Decca have just issued a 7 CD set of the recordings that Abbado made in London and Vienna in the 1960s, and there's some wonderful ones. I've got a Beethoven overture, I've got a movement from Mendelssohn's Scottish Symphony, I've got the great chorus of the Hebrew slaves from Nabucco to show how fine he was then, and of course when he worked with soloists that he admired, what fireworks they could, what sparks they could strike off each other. Marta Argerich in the beginning of Prokofiev's third piano concerto, and perhaps his favourite of all partners, the pianist Maurizio Pollini in the slow movement of Brahms' second piano concerto. When they were young radicals, in Milan, they used to go out and play for factory audiences in the 60s, the era of Vietnam and so on. They give them a political lecture as well. Well, the political lectures have stopped, but the music making happily continues. And I've got Abbado in full maturity, Brahms and that sort of stuff. And Abbado towards the end, must be the end of his career, leading up to his 80th birthday, but showing one of the things that's most endearing about Abbado. He's conducted all the finest orchestras. He's been music director of the London Symphony Orchestra, principal conductor of the Vienna Philharmonic, a decade at the helm of the Berlin Philharmonic, but he's always loved young musicians, the European Community Chamber Orchestra, the Mahler Youth Orchestra, whole lot of young musicians he has worked with, trying to put them on the right track for a major professional career. So I'm also going to be playing some Mozart with the Orchestra Mozart that he founded, Bologna-based, a few years back. Young musicians with a leadership, the leading positions amongst the violin sections, amongst the woodwind, being taken by major orchestral players from the great orchestras of Europe, inspired by Abbado to come and play with these young musicians. So I hope you will join me in saying happy birthday, Claudio, and with particular fervour for a man who's been through what he's been through, many happy returns. Join me on Sunday. I tell you, after 2 hours of Claudio Abbado, you will realise this is a very, very special musician and a very special man indeed.